Hello, everyone, and first of all, thank you for having me here. My name is Susovan Majumder, and I have done my post graduation in transportation design from MIT Institute of Design in Pune. Post that, I was working in Maruti Suzuki, and currently I am working with Samsung. But soon I will be leaving it to pursue full time on my entrepreneurial journey. So I think Anuj has briefly briefed about what Twidli is. They have showed you my Instagram handle. So yeah, happy to be here. So Anuj, how do we start?
Just waiting for Harshita to join.
Sure.
But meanwhile, do you can start with so how you started? I mean, how the idea started.
So it's actually so what happened is in December 2019, me and my friend. So as usual, we have breakfast in the morning, like in office. And my friend, who is also my partner now, he used to bring a lot. He brings very good breakfast. Like he's from Bangalore and he makes idlis and dosas. So we were just having breakfast one day, and suddenly this idea came out. Can we have something with like an idli with an egg? It was a random idea, purely a random idea. And then but then intuitively it felt like a good one. Like we thought, it sounds something unique. It can happen. But that was it. Nothing serious. As usual, we went back to work, and but then back of the mind, we were thinking about it. Went home, and then we started discussing. So it was one of those many ideas that usually pops up whenever you're working with your colleagues in an office. And like most of the ideas, we thought there is also an idea that we have. It's okay, it's great, but then let's move on. But then uh, the year was ending, so another joke that started coming out was New Year आ गया है. So another year is gone. कुछ भी नहीं किया. Like कितना कुछ करना था कुछ नहीं किया. So this discussion started popping out, and so we thought, why not? Let's do one thing. Let's make a New Year resolution. Let's start something. So it was actually that. What we decided is we have 3 weeks, and 1st January 2020, we should start something of our own, and we should. And out of all the ideas that we had discussed, this seemed to be the most doable one because this was a natural, like intuitively it was feeling natural. We were confident that this is something that is doable without much expense. You don't need an expensive prototyping, nothing of that sort. So we thought, let's start experimenting. So we made a plan, 3-week plan. We immediately printed a planner, weekly planner, wrote down handwritten, like what we want to do. And yeah, that's how it started. Initially was just this, but then the journey after this was what was mainly refining and things. So yeah, mainly it was just an idea that came out and a New Year resolution that we took,
Okay.
that we will start this.
So it's a food-based startup. So what were the initial hiccups you guys faced?
So actually, more than hiccups, it was about the questions that came into mind. That why this? Like why idli? Why do we? Why would anybody want to have idlis? Because it's not that we are based in Pune or in Bangalore, where people are used to having idlis regularly. We're thinking, being in Gurgaon, will it really matter to people? Also, questions like, if at all people prefer idli, why won't they go to established South Indian brands where they get authentic idlis? Why will they come to why do they experiment with a new brand? That was there. And also, what if nothing happens, we fail? These kind of questions were there. But then what we thought is, all these questions can also become our opportunity, because when we thought about it, there is actually no idli based brand. Like we were thinking, if Wow Momos can transform momos into a brand, why not us? We can take idli as a base, and then we can experiment with it, and then maybe make a brand out of it. We can communicate idlis as a very cool uh, breakfast, very cool, like kind of a food to have. And also we, as we are all aware that this whole aspect of healthy eating, healthy lifestyle is also a trend now, especially in cities like Gurgaon, Pune, Bangalore. So we thought we can maybe communicate this concept to these audience who are into healthy eating. So we took that, but then of course back of the mind there was the biggest was everything was assumptions. It's like we were assuming things. So we thought to ourselves, let's try it and then fail rather than just assuming and failing. So we thought, let's keep all the questions behind, just go for it. So we started experimenting. Initial hiccups, if I have to say, were the usual, like okay, concept we have, but then is it really working? So we started experimenting with the idli and the egg. So as a health food, it was shaping okay, but the taste was something that we were finding difficult to crack, the balance of health as well as taste. Because healthy is okay, but then to cater to a wider audience, it has to also taste good. It should not be a typical health product only enthusiasts will like. We cannot do that. So that was a challenge that we had. And also, as I said, we had a very tight timeline. Although it was a self-defined timeline, but we had a very tight timeline of 3 weeks because we had a New Year resolution to be followed. So first week went into really refining the product, finding the right balance. In that journey, what happened was we were eating idlis every day. So we kind of our palate became immune to it. Like we were not feeling any difference.
Okay.
So then what we did was we uh, took this, we made few samples, and I contacted two of my friends. We gave it to them to take it to their offices. There, they would ask them to. Okay, it's full screen now. Great.
Yeah.
So
I just found
we
a
gave
way
it to.
to make it work. Yes. So,
So we wanted to get feedback from people because we were getting immune to the taste of it. We were not feeling any difference. So we found like we gave it to our friends. We were very excited that let's see what happens. Like we were thinking that we have kind of cracked the balance. But then the first feedback at like morning we gave it to them, two offices. Afternoon the feedback came was we cannot feel the egg in it, just idli. So that was a demotivator uh, because we tried, we experimented, we felt that we are confident that the egli is shaping up, but then the feedback that came, and it was a constant, like everybody unanimously, the feedback was we cannot feel the egg in it, and except for the yolk, which is visible. So when you reach the yolk, it's okay. Otherwise, there is no egg. So we again went back. Now what we do? So we again tried the balancing, shape, size, how to enhance the flavors, those things. Typically, what has to be done for refining your product. We did those. But then one of the main challenges that we had in our mind, because we were doing something like this for the first time. Both of us, we don't have any background in starting up or business. None of our family members are into it. We don't have much network of people. So how to get strangers to try this, like how to judge really that will people pay for it, because that was most important for us. Because what we felt was, although even if we refine it and test it with friends, it will be fine, but they will motivate us, but then we will never know will really
they,
people pay for it.
they want with the
So
right audience. They want with a
yes,
truthful, honest audience.
yes, honest audience. And also people, one is stranger. Of course we got feedback from few strangers because of our friends, but then we had given them to taste. So it kind of becomes obligated that okay, we will give some positive feedback plus some criticism. But then we did not want that. We wanted pure authentic, like tear us apart, like pay for it and then tell us how do you like it. Because if you pay for something, you will definitely give critical comments about it. So we were figuring out how to do it. And at that time what happened was, because this new year thing was coming up, so so in my society there was a winter carnival, an evening that was being organized, where there would be food stalls and games and all those stuff. So I quickly contacted my society office and then bargained a cheap, like for a stall because I'm a resident. Please give it to me on discount. They also had some discount, but then we bargained further, and I got a stall. But the downside was it was not the best location of a stall. It was not the first stall or a corner stall. It was in middle of nowhere, like in the sea of 10 other stalls. So, but then we were confident that we will be able to gain some attention. So we went with that. But then, we fixed the process how to make idlis. Those we did, and then we started preparing for the stall. That was our first preparation. Now when we went out, so we bought some momo steamers, we steamer, gas stove, the basic utensils, only the basics, nothing more than what we absolutely need. Also, so tables and all we had, me and my friends, whatever we had, we gathered to set up the stall, got a small poster printed. And but what we realized was there was nothing available in the market that will suit our need, because we cannot use the household idli steamer because it's too small, and also the idlis that we make in home is smaller. Our idlis were bigger, it has to contain the egg. So although we got the plates, but then how do we steam it? So we got a momo steamer, but the problem with momo steamer was at a time only 15 could be made. But then we thought whether how will we tackle, because we wanted to make 100 idlis for the stall. So we thought how to handle that. So we put our minds. What we did is we fabricated some custom trays, perforated trays, because both me and my friend is also engineer. So we kind of went to Sikandarpur, got fabricated, and then we made the momo steamer into 2 layers so that we could make 30 at a time. So that was a decent number. So we did those jugad, and then we got ready for the stall. So it was on 29th December. So we came to my house in the morning, and we started cooking. The biggest problem was that we had never cooked 100 together before. It was too big a challenge for us to, because the kitchen at home is not designed to handle such a huge amount of plates or cooking ingredients. So that was a big hiccup. So well, after, so we miscalculated the timing, everything. The stalls were about to set up at 4:35. We ended up starting it at 7:30 in the evening. So we lost crucial 2 hours, and we made 100 idlis. I think 90, 95 we made. But the problem was most of the people who had gathered to have some chaat or evening snacks had already done that. So that was a problem. But then we put up the stall. What we did was we put up the standees, and I went to the stage where the show was, cultural event was going on. I talked to the anchor, and then she announced that there is this stall which is open. So why don't you guys go and check? So these things we had to do. So we went, but then of course the turnaround as expected was not, we could not sell 100 at least, but I think we sold around 25, 30. Now, number wise, we did not sell. It was a, like, we could not even recover. I think we barely recovered the stall cost, stall rent, that's it. But the most important thing that we got to know was the 25, 30 people who had that were happy, and they were repeat customers. Like, people, one member from a family may have bought an idli, they had it, then they went back and got another member or their friends. So that qualitative feedback was a positive thing that happened. So what we got was real feedback, and these people actually paid for it. They actually paid 70 rupees per egli, because we had actually, we first thought how much to price, but then we could not price very cheap either because we could not make more. So we thought, let's price it a little premium. Let's see. Let's take the toughest challenge. Let's price it premium so that we are later sustainable. Because if we price less, tomorrow when we are on Zomato or doing wholesale orders, we will not be profitable if we charge less from day one, and people get used to paying less. So we took the decision of charging premium, and 30 people, whoever bought, they were very happy, gave very positive response, and the feedback was bang on. Although we were doing a stall in the evening, but then almost everybody said, this is perfect for my breakfast. I can have it weekly, twice or thrice. It's very good. So that was what we were looking for. So yeah, that was kind of a, so 29th December, we like I told initially, we had made this 3-week plan for New Year. 29th December was actually our first milestone. We sold 30 idlis. So yeah, that was kind of the initial journey.
Okay, so I remember earlier when we met for the first time, you actually
Yes.
had said it's ugly, and now I see another option, and of course
Yeah.
you have rebranded, I think, in Twidli, because I
Yes.
think there was a need to add a vegetarian option.
Yes.
So
Yes.
by what time you started arriving to the the idea of okay, ugly alone needs a sister dish, side dish
Yes.
as well, not a
Yes.
side dish but a sister dish.
Yes. Yes. So, so what happened in January? What we planned was, since we got our feedback, so we thought, let's start on like an online cloud kitchen. Let's start on Zomato. But then we did some research, and there is really no restaurant available which has just one item in their menu. And we thought, how do we do it then? And then also the idea, because the initial thought was innovating on idlis, although we started this with this idea of egli, but then we listed many ideas which we can try with idli. But then it will take some time, and also we have to figure out processes. So we made that as a roadmap, that we will, in the next 6 months, we will branch out to say 5 or 6 menu items based on idlis. Now, in that case, we thought Egli then doesn't make sense to have as a brand name. So we thought, let's call it what we are doing, which is twist, adding twist to idlis, innovating with idlis. So we thought of a brand name Twidli, so that the intent is clear through our brand, that it is idlis with twist. And we will keep experimenting, because the possibilities are really endless. We can go seasonal, we can go savory, sweet, everything. So why to just restrict? But as some of you know by now, that we are not full time in this. Like, I am also working in my corporate job, so time is off crunch, and we have to experiment, we have to move ahead. So one way is, of course, we pull in our time, resource, experiment, make 5 to 6 idlis, uh, make the full set of menu, and then go out to the market on Zomato. But then there is no assurity that people will buy all those, even if we make 10 items. So what we thought was, let's divide our effort into two things. And also one thing is, like, people like us who are working in corporates, we have an habit of salary in every month. So we really do not know, अरे एक महीना कुछ business नहीं हुआ तो होगा क्या? We do not know what that situation is. So we thought one way can be, let's start a B2B supply of Egli, because that really can start our constant revenue. Like, we can take out the kitchen rent from that, we can pull out our cook ka salary, a delivery guy salary, we can get those out of a constant supply. And also, so one thing that was back of our mind, which was constantly there, and the biggest challenge was, we can make eglis, we can make 10 more products, because we are like, both of us are engineers, designers, we can make whatever we can, but then can we really sell it? How do we meet, how do we reach customers, how do we convince them to really believe in us? So that was our first challenge that we took up. So what we decided is, we will not invest or not do anything before we are sure, or partly sure, that we have somewhere to sell it, or someone to sell it. Because that part was a bigger challenge for both of us than making this or branding it, because we both are from design background. We can do with whatever we want to do with branding, packaging, we can get all those done. But then the main challenge was, how to sell, whom to sell. So that we took up first. So in January, I started going out, we're reaching out to cafes and gym owners and corporate cafeterias, because we thought uh, these places are the best fit for Egli, because they are organized retails. So there is no problem which you face in a market like Vyapar Kendra if you put a stall. So there is no problem of that. They are organized, and also they have a constant crowd coming in every day. So we don't have to really shout for visibility or or invest in our visibility. So I started doing that. In that pursuit, we ended up tying. So our first tie-up was with Gold Gym. There are two Gold Gym in Gurgaon, and the owner has his health cafes along with that. So we got in touch with him. I went and met him. He tasted Eggly's, and he instantly was convinced about it. So we started that first tie-up, which but since it was winter and not many members were coming to the gym, so we decided we will start it after Valentine's Day, like a 15th February and beyond. So that was our first. And when we did that, at least we had a confidence. Now we can go and rent a kitchen. So we did. So that confidence we got. And parallelly, because we'll have to do a B2C, a retail thing, so we started developing the whole brand of Twidli along with that. So for a B2B, I go there and pitch only Eggly's. But for a B2C, on my social media, for Zomato efforts, whatever is coming, it's all Twidli. So that was the branching out.
So okay, so Harshita is here, and she has few questions to ask. Harshita.
Hi, hi, Susovan. How are you?
Hi, Harshita.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, since you're in a job right now and you're running a startup as well. And I think a lot of founders, do this in the beginning of the startup, when they are running a job, because of course, a lot of fixed expenses to be taken care of, which the business initially will not be able to give you that, right? And there's a lot of investment to be made on a regular basis with respect to working capital. So how do you deal with the job, the pressure in the job, and the pressure of the startup at the same time? Like, what is the balance like? How do you strike that balance between two?
So I got this question asked by many of my friends also. The first, like a very say a very blunt reply to this, which I suggest to everybody, is audit your time. Like we work, whatever full-time work we do, it's most to the max, it will be 10 hours a day, not more than that. It cannot be. Like if you really believe that I want to branch it out, you can somehow manage to end your work with all the pressure within 10, 11 hours and be back at home. And once you are back, do not watch television. Do not watch web series. That's the first thing I suggest everybody, and I follow myself. I have a TV. I never watch it. So
Okay.
that's the first thing which I suggest. But that's the on the lighter part. The main thing, what I do as so to handle both is manage, like prioritize your efforts. Now in office, you will have many things to do, and most of the times, many of them spill over to your after office hours also. Like at least if not physical work, but maybe mental work. Like you are thinking about a project after coming back. So try to minimize those. Minimize your thinking, like mental load of your office after you are back at home, so that at least you are mentally free for whatever time you are there at home, maybe 4 or 5 hours that you can go give before going to bed. So that's one. And talking, so that's about time. But talking about revenue, so being on job has a benefit, but also the benefit is, of course, because you have a constant salary, you can offset some of those into the business, into your startup, to work out at least the initial funding, initial appliances or prototyping cost or whatever. But I still but the flip side is, because we are in job, as I said before, we have an habit of constant revenue, which is salary. But business has nothing like that. So that fear is always there. So my suggestion to everybody will be, in your startup effort, try to find a, even if it's a very fraction of your total revenue, but try to find a fraction which is like a continuous revenue, which was my B2B supply. So what I figured out was, if I don't move out from my corporate, I won't be able to give my 100% to grow my retail effort of Twidli, be it Zomato, Swiggy, or a breakfast home delivery on my own. I cannot do that 100% if I don't move out from my corporate. but I can easily do a B2B supply working with the corporate, because in that it's a fixed customer, it's a fixed quantity, plus or minus say 10% on a daily basis. It's a fixed timing thing, like morning first half it gets over, so I can manage that. So I suggest try to find that kind of uh, portion of your startup which can give you a little uh, like a constant
Steady revenue,
revenue
basically.
and a constant timing of effort. That will help to make the transition, or also to ease you a little.
Great. Also, since we also shared the link of your Instagram, and maybe your, if I don't know if you have any other social media handles which you're active on with your business account, I would like to know, how do you get inspiration for these kind of creative, posts that you've been making? For those of you who've not checked out Twidli's Instagram handle, please do check it out. It's really good, very interesting, and would like to know, where do you get ideas for these
Don't tell her,
posts
she's
that
going to copy. She
No, we are also looking for these kind of inspirations,
Yeah, sure, of course.
So we'd like to know where do you get it from. Yeah.
So, uh, so one thing, so the idea behind starting the Instagram page was a threefold, like three things we wanted to do with Twidly. And like not luckily, but I have put some efforts and learning how social media really works, and what is the difference between marketing versus engaging, what is the difference between putting out your product versus communicating about your brand. So those things I learned, and so we started Instagram handle to do three things mainly. First was to express, because as I said, we had many questions in mind, and wanted to express that idlis are cool, idlis are healthy, idli is not a boring traditional food that we have. It's a cool, quirky, very millennial kind of a story. So we wanted to express ourselves through Instagram, and of course, because we have to sell, we had to impress. So if you see our Instagram page starting from, so it's quite random still, but there is currently there is a mix of impressive stuff, like good shot of our plates, those things, and also expressive stuff where we are talking, we are expressing our feelings, sketches, those things. So we wanted to make a mix of that. But the third most important thing that we wanted, and which I think most of us do not do, most of us are pretty good with first two, like we can express, we can impress. But the third, which is actually very, very important to be aligned with the social media algorithm itself, is to communicate or engage. And that aspect, for engaging, you cannot really go out as a product and engage your customer, because they will say, oh, okay, fine, you are a brand, fine, there are 10 other brands, why do I engage? But you have to go there as more than just a brand. So you have to really talk to them, make some fun engagement stuff, quizzes, or give them some, like this one, give them some uh, behind the scene things. Like they should feel that this brand is one of us, like someone like me has started this brand. That's when social media really happens. So that was the thinking. And of course, coming to the creative inspiration, so as I mentioned, me and my friend, we are both designers, so our day job, our full-time job, is also in the creative field. So we kind of get it as a natural skill set.
Great, great. Also would like to know, how big is your team size right now, and like, are you still bootstrapped? What are your plans for funding, let's say, going ahead for expansion?
So currently, yes, it's me and my friend, and of course, both of our wives. They are big because both of us are working. So they help us in managing the kitchen service in the morning. And as a like an employee base, we just have two employee. One is our cook and one is our delivery guy. So the delivery guy is just on a daily wage basis, because every day he delivers, he gets paid. But our cook is on a monthly salary. And so that's it. We are just a team of 6 people, I would say. 4 of us, like me and my partner and our wives, and 2 employees. So we're 6 people. The good thing about like talking about bootstrapping, the thing what we do is uh, it's not just about the funding part, but also resources like creatives, marketing resources, marketing, or building this digital, all this, or documentation like Zomato, Swiggy, everything. Me and my partner, we are doing it, all this social media thing. uh, Eventually we are currently doing the documentation for Zomato and Swiggy, all those things, then making the creatives for the cloud kitchen on Zomato, those things, everything we are doing in now. So we don't really have to depend on anybody or get or hire anybody. Branding, everything. So yeah, so bootstrapping, yes, we are bootstrapping, and we don't see a near future requirement about funding, because currently what our goal is to become a local success first, like within say 10 kilometers around my kitchen. So that's what we are targeting at first. So 2 cafes are currently where we are supplying, and we have started weekend breakfast uh, in my society and neighboring society, and my friend's society and neighboring societies. So that's only weekend to weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and it's all pre-order. So the approach that we are continuously pursuing is minimum investment and effort before we are sure that we have somewhere to deliver or somewhere to cater. So that's why the weekend delivery is all pre-order. We take order on Instagram, WhatsApp throughout the week, and we deliver it on weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Unfortunately, we started it and then the lockdown happened. So yeah, so and after and also currently we'll be expanding. We will be starting Zomato as a one location thing, but then we will be covering 10-kilometer radius. So we are really focusing on the local part as of now. Later on, we will scale it up to full Gurgaon and then maybe Delhi and then NCR, full NCR.
So are you planning to launch maybe like a packaged, preserved version of this where people can, buy in bulk packaged, Twidlis from you, and then maybe recook it, reheat it, or whatever? Are you planning for that kind of a product as well?
So, as I said, we had multiple thoughts. Like we also thought of shelving these in outlets like 24/7 and those things. But then those are definitely there. But then we have started with what is the next doable, those things. So yeah, eventually maybe we can. Like we don't have concrete plans about full bulk, like a preserved thing as of yet. But then maybe yes, why not?
Oh, great, great. Would love to definitely try out one of your products, whenever we meet next. And also, please do let us know how can people get their hands on Twidlies? How do they order? What are the various, portals on which you are available, and how can they order if they have to order it, let's say, in
Right.
the coming time after lockdown? Yeah.
So, so currently, uh, so we were supposed to go live on Zomato and Swiggy by now, but then because of the lockdown and limited staff in their companies, also everything is getting postponed right now. So our packaging is ready, everything is ready. It's all piled up at my home. So currently, what we have, like will be available immediately after the lockdown, is a weekend breakfast, as I mentioned. So anyone who is around say 10 kilometers of sector 52, like RD City, Golf Course Road, or sector 54, 55, 56, these areas, Sushant Lok, these areas of Gurgaon, can get in touch on our Instagram page. You can order, you can pre-order, we will deliver it to you. Also, I don't know if there is number in my Instagram. I'll have to check, because many of them, like people who are repeat, they do it on WhatsApp itself. So yeah, so that's the current thing. But then very soon, like maybe after the lockdown, within a week or two, we will be available on Zomato as well as Swiggy. So but then that will take a little more time because of this.
Great, lovely. Then I'm pretty sure a lot of orders will come pouring in as soon as the lockdown time finishes. We're all waiting for that to happen. Also, regarding lockdown, I think we're running short of time. Quickly, if you could just tell us within 2 minutes what all things you're planning to do within the lockdown period. I think next 15 days we have left. What are the things you're doing to prepare yourself?
So as I said, the third part, which is engaging with our customers, because what has happened is many people were getting in touch, few people ordered during weekends, and then before they could order again, the lockdown happened, and many people who have got in touch with us could not order yet. So we are ensuring that we keep them engaged. And also when we were before the lockdown, whatever B2B, like the cafes and other like influencers, some gym trainers we were talking with, that engagement we are continuously having. We are in touch with them so that once the lockdown is over, we are visible everywhere, because currently we cannot uh, execute anything, but we are keeping all the tools ready, like like there are 3 4 influencers and gym trainers that I am in touch with. Immediately as the lockdown ends, I will meet them and get their feedback for marketing, as well as we will prepare the Zomato. So main thing which we are doing right now is keep our customers engaged and also help them, because currently what is happening is people are on Instagram for relieving their anxiety, or for asking questions, looking at various challenges people are throwing out with friends. So we are also kind of creating some challenges. We are celebrating home cooking, because ultimately, even although we are a brand, but then people should engage with us as a friend on social media. So we are celebrating home cooking, whatever we are preparing at home. We are uh, like putting up there. We are appreciating people's effort. So
Guys,
many are also thinking whether
Sushant,
this is
just a minute.
we are kind of working between what a food blogger would do and a restaurant will do. We are
Sushant,
kind of bridging those two kind of communication and making it on social media. So that's
so
what we are doing for the major part.
hi Sushant.
So yes, majorly what we are doing right now is, as I said, we have 3 parts: express, impress, and engage. But express and impress really won't make much sense at this time. I think not just for us, but for any business here who are active on social media, because there is no point in impressing at this point, because people are already anxious and they are having a tough time. And express, it's a process, but then currently what can we express as a brand, because we cannot express political things, we cannot express really polarizing things as a brand. So but the third part, which is engage and be more than a brand to engage. So currently we are also taking questions like, just today I have put a question that many of us have always thought to start a business, and this is the right time. So if you have any questions, put across, we will be more than happy to answer. In questions and engagement communication we are doing across these 15 days, along with celebrating food as a whole and not just idlis or what we do in Twidli, home cooking, everything. So kind of a very friendly engagement we are doing with our customers. We stay in their mind that when there was a time lockdown, after the lockdown, when they go back to normal, they recall, okay, I have to order, see what how it tastes. That's what we are doing.
Someone's body is on. If you can please switch off the audio. There's a
Sorry,
background noise coming.
from here.
Some background noise is coming. Whoever's it is,
I
if
have
you can just
muted
switch
you.
off.
I've muted.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Um,
whoever needs to
whoever
ask a question, please raise hands. Everyone else will be muted. Harshita, start.
hmm. Yeah, so discussing about lockdown, since a lot of webinars have been happening, a lot of resource material has been, is being shared. A lot of, coaches, business coaches have been doing a lot of, sessions where they're telling people, how can you benefit out of the lockdown time? Because again, a lot of people might look at it as, some sort of like, okay, this is a bad time for business where everything is supposedly going in a recession and markets are not doing well, and everything has come to a halt. And then there's another way of looking at it, which is, how can we make use of the time we have, and how can we take it up as an opportunity? So what opportunity do you see in this current period where everything has come to a halt? If you could share your personal experience of how you're utilizing it for your business, and what opportunities do you see coming forth after the lockdown for the rest of
Yeah.
the businesses?
So I'll start with like all the people who are here, how personally we can utilize. Maybe I'll start with that first, because ultimately our business will do whatever we do, how we are. So, like for an example, I met Anuj in January in a meetup in Gurgaon, and we had a short chat about this. And then we have been in touch about Twidli and other than his entrepreneur, because there is some, like, even he gives services which are useful for the startups. So we have been discussing a lot. During the lockdown, what I personally did was, which something that I always had in my mind, which is give YouTube a try. Can I really speak? Can I make any videos which will be value on YouTube? So I experimented with YouTube, and I made my first video this Sunday, the last Sunday, and then my second video on Tuesday. That video, when I am sharing it out with people, I shared with Anuj also. He pulled me into the group, the WhatsApp group, which I joined that evening. Post that, today we are talking, I am sharing with you everyone. So this is nothing but an opportunity. So whatever you do during a lockdown can open immense opportunity for your business also. And today when I'm talking to you, I have shared, and we are discussing here on a forum where there are many people, and many of you I'm sure are in and around Gurgaon, maybe my potential customers. So without even thinking about my business, how to, even if I think on a personal level about my development, my next big thing or next thing, it can help your business. So all I recommend is try to utilize this time to do more of for yourself whatever you have always wanted. Like I always wanted to make a YouTube video, I gave it a shot during this time, and it is kind of working because we are here today. So give that a try. That's for personal thing. For business, of course, as I mentioned, so yes, many businesses will suffer, many people, like I am also not selling anything, but then this is a very good time to refine whatever you are doing. Maybe so as I said, we have a lot of roadmap for branching out, for making more menu, uh, but this is a time where I can experiment, I can make everything and set up the processes, keep the backend ready. This is the time. So when the lockdown ends, we cannot control when it ends, but whenever it ends, I can start deploying, start executing things. So for my tie-ups also, I am currently also having a chat with 2 or more cafes, so that after the lockdown we can meet and we can discuss further business. So use this time to network. I would say this networking. So network more, uh, so that you never know what will happen, what kind of, because it may also happen that people may not order online immediately after the lockdown ends, but if they are, but people will definitely order, they will definitely have food. So try to, so if I am in the food business, I will try to think all the various type of food at this time. Can I branch into a, say, tiffin service, or can I branch into a, say, completely homemade, because kitchen is common, my cook will be same, but if I can branch out my brand or make sub brands, so make those strategies for your business, because we don't know what will the scenario be, but we definitely know all the industries will stay, it won't go away, but people's perception, people's acceptance may get a little high or a little low depending on what industry you are in. So try to figure out those now, and it's a very good time now because you don't have the pressure to cater to your customer on a daily basis, monitor your revenue, monitor your day-to-day business. Currently you don't have that, so use this time.
That's great. Useful tips. Also, one thing we'd like to know is what is one of the biggest mistakes you have made so far in your journey as an entrepreneur? Since you started, any big mistake that you've made, and then which taught you a big lesson, and it would help you going forth. If you could share the experience with us.
Yes. So it's a very, very nice question. Actually, so Twidli is my second attempt into business. First, I did, so very interestingly, I did it in 2016, and within a month, demonetization happened. And now I did it in 2020. Within 2 months, lockdown happened. So, so that's one thing.
Wow.
That's maybe timing. So, in my first business, I have learned a big, big, huge mistake. When I started that, as you all know, I'm not from a MBA background. So, but I am from a product background. I am a designer, I'm an engineer. So I understand product, I understand services, I understand how to make things, prototype, all those things. So my first business in 2016, when I started a brand for selling designer bags, handbags, tiffin bags, pocket organizers, those things. I was a designer. I could make everything in house. I designed it, branded everything, got it manufactured from a manufacturer in Noida. Huge inventory. Spent my Diwali bonus in it. I sold 5 bags. Five. I spent
Not
two and a
bad.
half lakhs in inventory and I sold 5 bags
My
because
first was a shoe venture.
yes, I know. Yeah, we had a chat about that. So
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 please
why five
continue.
bags? Anybody will ask. The bags were great. Whoever has bought it, it's that was the problem. It was so over engineered, it is still okay, like they don't have to replace it. That was a problem, but that's a different problem. But I did not think as a customer, like, why do I need this bag, or who needs this bag? I thought I can make this bag. I like it, I'll my friends like it, I will make it. And I assumed that people will want to buy, without understanding people who buy bags, why do they buy a bag? Like, people who buy a lifestyle bag, do they really buy a bag, or do they buy an image? So those things I could not figure out at that time. Hence I ended up with, I still have a shelf dedicated in my home as a souvenir with all the inventory stacked in, because that was the mistake. So that learning I have taken now, and as I've mentioned when we were talking, I do not put investment before at least having a, like a small discussion with me. So for example, if I have not discussed with Anuj that he is willing to buy eglis from me for his cafe, I will not buy another steamer to expand. Maybe Anuj can say no to me tomorrow. That's okay. Maybe he changes his mind. That's fine. But then the first layer, which is finding the customer. So currently, what we have thought is, at least in the beginning, in the first 6 months or a year, we will find customers first. Then we will put in all our resources. So that's a learning that I have carried forward from my previous attempt, and I suggest it to everybody. I have a lot of friends who are great with products, great with creative thinking, great with product development, but first question is, whom will you sell and how will you reach those customers? These two answers. Whom, if you find, okay, fine, I'll sell it to this guy, I'll sell it to Anuj. Then the next big question, how will I reach Anuj? So answer these two questions first. Then you are sorted.
Basically,
Then it doesn't matter what you are making.
so right product fit is a very, very important thing for any business, whether it's a new product or if it is an existing product with a certain alteration. You have to look for that. Definitely. Okay. Last question would like to ask you is, since it's a two co-founder team, you have a co-founder with you, and how do you divide the responsibilities amongst yourselves, and if there is any conflict, which I'm pretty sure there must be many on a daily
Yeah,
basis,
of
with
course.
your co-founder, how do you deal with those conflicts and how do you resolve them? Do you follow any organized way of doing that, or is it just case to case basis? Or how do you do that?
So So what I understand is, whoever is your co-founder, it's almost like a marriage. You are marrying him or her. So be prepared. It won't be a smooth journey. It's like every marriage, but it's an enjoyable journey. So first, be prepared about that. It's like a marriage. It's not like a courtship or a friendship. It's a marriage, pure marriage. So you will have ups and downs. So be mentally prepared. And also, in our case, what happens is my partner, he helps me with to get the processes right, because he is a very analytical thinker. Like, he is not a person who is unnecessarily optimistic or feels everything is possible. He is almost like the engineer amongst us, who is always finding problems, like how will we do this, that's okay, but how will we do this. Whereas I am like the dreamer. Like, I think everything is possible, I can sell 1,000 idlis per day. That's in my mind. But my friend, my partner, will be thinking, how can we even make 100 per day. So that's how we complement each other. And of course, we have our own conflicts also, because sometimes I think we should go very radical, he thinks no, we should, it will be too radical, we should be conservative, or the vice versa. Or if he thinks no, we are not even making like much money, we are hardly just uh, able to pay our rent, but how do we scale fast. I may be thinking that, because I have learned this one is his first attempt to business, whereas mine, it is a second attempt. So however, I have learned few things. So I try to tell him that it's okay even if we are breaking, at least we are not making any losses, at least we are not paying in more money from our pocket right now. So we can keep experimenting, we can balance our speed, like we can balance wide versus depth. So those kind of things we figure out. And also, there is a bonding, because we have been working together for 3 years, 3 years now. And so we kind of understand. So yeah, there is no organized way as such, but then it's like a marriage. Mainly the the learning is, it's a marriage, so take it like that.
So you have only gone for Instagram as your social media handle. No, why not
Right.
other channels? I mean, whenever everyone thinks about a social media game, they are thinking Facebook भी करना है, Instagram भी करना है, साइड में मन आया तो LinkedIn भी डाल देंगे.
Right.
So why only Instagram?
So my approach to this is, ultimately, so when I am starting it, first will be my friends who will be spreading out the word for me. So that's first, because, and that does not really need anything. So what I do is, for Twidli, what I felt was, because food is such a thing which needs visual as well as a little storytelling as a marketing tool. Hence, I find Instagram to be a right balance of visual storytelling as well as like an engaging communication. You can talk about it, you can talk in it, create surveys, those things. So it's a very holistic tool that I think which is available to us. Of course, Facebook has a lot of people in that, but the problem of Facebook currently is that you have almost negligible reach in Facebook. If you don't pay for ads, it's almost negligible. Instagram has also reduced its reach. Like back in 2016, when I started my bag thing, it was very easy to get 50, 60, 100 likes for a post without doing anything, absolutely nothing. But currently, it's very, very difficult to reach organically, even on Instagram. Yeah. But the benefit of Instagram is, it's a balance. You can tell your story visually, and also, of course, you can repost it on Facebook. So Facebook is getting taken care if you do Instagram properly. But of course, Facebook is through my personal uh, my personal page, not Twidly's page that I am doing. Because what I found in Facebook is, Facebook, maybe the attention span has reduced to almost zero, and Facebook is filled with, say, polarizing thoughts and fake news and people discussing random stuff. That is where Facebook is occupied with. However, a very good tool in Facebook is the Facebook groups, because even in Twidly, what we did is, I met 2 or 3 people in Gurgaon who are very, very active, and they have their own groups in Facebook, which are Fit Foodie and Gurgaon Foodies, and they are the admins of that, and they also have their own good social following. So I met them, and then through them we are using the Facebook group as a personal, as an individual. I'm using that. So in Facebook, I am Susovan, who has Twidli as a startup. So that's my game in Facebook, because Facebook, mein, what I found is brand marketing, getting attention is very almost zero. So, but then personal attention is still better. So I do as a personal profile. Whereas in Twidli, when Instagram, brands still have a better visibility, as a good, decent visibility. So I use Instagram here. LinkedIn, of course, LinkedIn, I don't know. Currently in Twidli, I don't see any requirement for uh, LinkedIn. But yes, as an individual, definitely. So whatever I'm doing on YouTube, like connecting with people like you or people here, I'll definitely use LinkedIn. But then, as I said, LinkedIn and Facebook, I do as an individual who is a entrepreneur. Whereas Instagram, I'm doing it as a brand.
So
So that
tell
is
me
how I
one
have
thing.
divided.
All the channels you are trying to, get customers, and of course make sales happen. Like going and meeting people directly in the events, or going to the directly B2B. Which channel is working best for you, and why do you think it's so?
Till now, the best channel has been Instagram, because of one. So the most important, the best tool in Instagram, within Instagram, is direct messaging. So what I do is I do a quick survey. What are the cafes around me? What are the gyms around me? I find their Instagram profile, because one benefit of Instagram profile, I'll tell you here, is even if it's a big brand, they are struggling with Instagram. They are still relatively new on Instagram. So even the brand, whoever is managing that page, has better attention on Instagram to whoever messages him or her. So when I message a cafe, I am not sure whether it's the owner directly handling it or maybe a team member, but at least I am able to get their attention versus say emailing them or finding them on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, they are busy, and most of the time you don't know who is the owner. For LinkedIn, you will need to know who is the owner, but Instagram that way has helped me a lot. So both of my cafes I have found it through Instagram. Most of my customers, of course, apart from the in the society, for the societies, the home delivery that I do on weekends, that we have gone for a traditional method, which is pamphlets. We circulated pamphlets and we got in touch on WhatsApp. But other than that, Instagram has been the most.
All right. It was great interacting with you. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me. It was a great opportunity. Although my journey is, it's a very it's at an infant stage almost. I'm sure many here are much more experienced than me. So it was great sharing whatever I have been doing, and yeah, it was great talking to everybody. Hope we are able to connect more and share more.
Definitely, definitely. And also, no matter what stage of startup you're in, every story is unique, every experience is unique, and we all get to learn a lot. No matter what kind of experience or what kind of entrepreneur it is, everyone teaches us something or the other. So it was great having you with us, and thank you for joining in, everyone. Thank you.